Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to share with you how I was able to remove all of these ugly trash cans from the front of my home and create some type of trash pad privacy fence on the side of my home. This is a project that I've been wanting to do for some time now. It took me a while to figure out some type of solution, but I've realized that it was going to take a lot more elbow grease than I thought. It took me a long time to dig up all of this dirt. Thankfully, I started this back in March, so it wasn't very hot, but it took a long time. I even had to get my husband to help me because this was a lot of work. Because we started this project back in the spring, we did experience a lot of rain, so we did take a lot of time to complete this project. I would say if you had the time to complete this and all of the materials, it would probably take 3 to 4 days. If you have a busy schedule, but if you had all the time to commit to this, I would say 3 to 4 days. It took us over a month. Now, as you can see, I started digging up about 3 to 4 inches of dirt and then spreading it out to even it out, just because my home is on a slope. And this was probably the part that took the longest, making sure that I had an even spread of dirt before adding any gravel or sand or anything like that. Now, I do want to say I am not a professional by any means. I just did what made sense to me and what was affordable at the time. On this particular day, I started by adding the landscaping fabric. I didn't have any of those pins to hold it down, so I just used some rocks. And then I added the step 1 paver sand before I started to lay all of my pavers out. As you can see, I did not have enough, but I made it work with what I had. And this part got a little interesting. It took a little time to make sure that I was leveling out the pavers correctly. So I just added a little bit of sand in the areas that I felt like needed it. About a week of consistent rain, this is what I was left with. I definitely needed to add some more sand in this area to give the pavers the foundation that it needs. This part went by pretty fast. I just went paver by paver, making sure that they were all leveled and adding sand, removing sand, making sure that everything was nice and snug in there. I eventually took off the gloves that I had on. They kept getting caught in between the pavers. I just found it easier to do it that way. There were many mistakes made during this process, but this particular one I do want to point out. I added regular sand to the pavers. This was not the proper sand to add. You need to add polymeric sand to the pavers. That particular sand is made to lock them together to prevent shifting in the future. This is the privacy fence that we purchased off Amazon. All the details about this fence will be linked below. I did have to remove a row of pavers. It was really hard trying to anchor this fence into the ground with the measurements that I had previous, so I had to just take out a row. And this is what we ended up with after removing the pavers and making sure that the privacy fence was properly anchored into the ground. And now I can come up with some other creative design to fill up the areas that does not have pavers. Now, in preparation to add the proper sand to the pavers, I went ahead and cleaned off any debris that was on top of the pavers. I purchased the color caramel brown or caramel beige, something like that. I'll leave it linked below. This sand was harder to work with. You have to really make sure to get it in between the pavers to make sure that it's all spread out evenly.
Making fun of me. His girl is a bum to me. Like that boy is a cop. Saying he home, but I know where he at. Like he blowing her back. Think about me, cause he know that it's fat. Ain't it been what it been? Calling his phone like, yo, send me a pin. Look at my shit, cause he know what I'm on. But when he hit me, I'm not gonna respond. But I don't sleep enough without you. And I can't eat enough without you. If you don't speak, does that mean we're through? Don't like sneaky shit that you do.
This right here took a little bit of time because you do want to make sure you remove all of the sand from on top of the pavers. You want the sand to strictly go in between the pavers. You don't want to have it on top because it will leave some sort of a film on top of the pavers. And because the sand does act as a glue, if you don't remove it from the top of the pavers and it dries that way, you will see it and it'll be harder to get rid of in the future. These are all the things I found in my garage that I already had on hand that I can use in this area to create some type of landscaping around the privacy fence. I am going to use some of this weed and grass killer to make sure that weeds will not come up in this area. Thankfully, my property did come with a lot of rocks, so I have some rocks in the back of my home that I am going to be removing and putting up here just to add some type of decorative element to the privacy fence. In the front of the fence, I did add this landscaping edging all the way around just so that I could have some type of barrier in between the grass and the mulch. I did add some weed and grass killer on top of the grass that you see on the inside, in between the edging and the fence. I just wanted to add some more spacing here, and without digging this up, I just said, you know, I'll just add some weed and grass killer. And yeah, I probably should have pulled this up because I did get weeds here instantly. And also keep in mind that we did get a lot of rain, so I did get weeds here. It wasn't that much of a big deal. I just pulled them out. I don't mind weed eating, so it wasn't that much of a big deal to me. If this is something that you would like to do, I would suggest making sure that you put a decent barrier here to ensure that you won't have to deal with the weeds moving forward.
That's why we won. The good, die young, and poor. I gave it all I could. Stuck in this terror dome. All I see is terrible, making us hysterical. It's got to be more, got to be more. Sick of this head of mine. Intrusive thoughts that paralyze. The fun is not his appetite. It's got to be more than here before. Life's better on Saturn. Got to break this pattern. Floating away. Find something worth saving. It's all for the taking. I always say, I'll be better on Saturn. None of this matters. Dreaming of Saturn. I'll be
So after a lot of sweat, rain, and dirt, this is what I came up with, and I absolutely love it. It turned out beautiful. It looks amazing on the side of my home. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, and if you want to see more from me, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.